Okay, this lesson we are identifying pairs of lines and angles. A lot of this lesson is just going to be definitions. So as long as you have your journals, I'm pretty sure you guys will be fine. But let's go over some of these definitions that you already wrote. Tell me what a parallel line is.
Lines that are coplanar and do not intersect.
Coplanar and do not intersect. You see they have a picture here? Mm-hmm. And coplanar, they demonstrate with the blue plane here, and then they don't ever cross. See how it has two little red arrows drawn on the lines? That means that they are parallel lines. Okay? Somebody explain what a skew line is.
Skew line, if they do not intersect and are not coplanar.
So when you're looking at this diagram, which two lines would be considered skew lines? They're not on the same plane and they never intersect. So you would have to choose this one that's going vertical. And then the M, because N does intersect. You see how it intersects? Mm-hmm. So the two skew lines would be M and K. Okay? And then parallel planes, you see how T and U, it's the same definition for lines. They never intersect and they're parallel. Not coplanar, I guess. Okay. Any questions on your definitions? All right, so let's start with example 1. Put this in your journals. All right, so we're using this box, and we're going to answer the 4 questions. Try not to look at the solutions, guys. I want you to think for yourselves here. So for A, it asks us, well, first of all, think of each segment in the figure as part of a line. Which lines or planes in the figure appear to fit the description that I'm about to read to you? For A, it says lines or lines parallel to CD and containing point A. So let's find point A. And then it's parallel to line CD. So what lines fit those?
AB.
AB would be one. So line AB. Is there any other ones?
That include the point A?
Nope. Are there any more that are parallel to DC, just for fun? HG would be one. EF would be one. But it wants the 2 qualifications of it's parallel to CD and it contains point A. So AB is our only solution. Okay, let me erase these. All right, for B, lines that are skew to CD and contain point A.
A and H.
Say it again.
A and H.
AH would be one. Are there any more? Are you sure? So we have this one that's not parallel and never crosses. Is there any more that are not parallel and never cross? Look at the picture.
What it means they are not coplanar, does that mean?
Like this is a plane, so AB would technically not be, it's never going to intersect, but it's on the same plane. So it can't be a skew line.
Point A is on the plane.
Point A is on the plane, right.
So how would AH be skewed?
Because the whole line is not on the plane, just one of the points. Good questions. So is there any other lines maybe?
Oh, you can do that.
AG.
Yep. So line AG would be the other one.
Oh, yeah, okay, there.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at C. Lines perpendicular to CD and containing point A. What does perpendicular mean again?
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular is?
They form a right angle.
The two lines intersect to form a right angle. Very good. So we want a line that intersects. Do you see we've got these little red squares that mean perpendicular or 90 degrees. So we're looking for lines perpendicular to this line CD and containing point A. So there's two qualifications here.
It's just DA.
Yep. DA or AD. Are there any other perpendicular lines? Yes, there's a bunch. This one right here is perpendicular, this one right here is perpendicular, this one's right here is perpendicular. But they don't contain point A, which it has to have both. All right, one more. Let's look at D. Oh, I messed up. Planes that are parallel to plane EFG containing point A. Okay, so let's first find plane EFG. That would be this bottom plane, right?
Yeah.
So we need planes that are parallel to that and contains point A.
DAB.
Yeah, I mean, it's this top plane. So you can label it using any 3 points. DAB or ABC or CBA, whatever. All of them work, any 3 points. It does have to contain point A, so in your labeling, make sure you have A in there at least. All right, any questions on this? So all you do is identify relationships. That's pretty much what your IXL is, guys. It's just over that example. So, but let's keep going. When you have two lines on the same plane, they're either going to be parallel, meaning they're never going to cross, or they're going to intersect at some point. They might be perpendicular and be 90 degrees, but they might just be slightly tilted on one and eventually cross. Those are the only two options. They'll either intersect or never intersect. If you have two lines on top of each other, which doesn't occasionally happen, this is called infinite mini solutions. Infinite, I don't know if I know how to spell infinite. There's an extra I, that shouldn't be there. Solutions. So whenever you're graphing, if you end up with a line on top of a line, you can say many solutions. If you have where two lines cross, how many solutions do you have? One solution. Wow. And if you have two parallel lines, how many solutions do you have? No solutions, because they never cross. Okay? We did this in algebra, just refreshing your memories. You can use postulate 15 and postulate 14. When you're going through this to prove statements, would be the best way to say it, because you're going to have to do a small proofs, I think, in the next IXL. The parallel postulate, if there is a line and a point not on the line, then there is exactly one line through the point parallel to the given line. Okay, that's just a bunch of words that tell you that you have two lines that are parallel and they don't intersect. See how it's through a point P right here? Perpendicular postulate, if there is a line and a point not on the line, then there is exactly one line through the point perpendicular to the given line. So I can't draw any other lines through this P point to make it perpendicular. That's all that's saying. There's only one option to go at that 90-degree angle. Okay? So, let's look at example 2. We're going to use these two postulates to identify parallel and perpendicular lines. Focus. Okay, so we have a picture here of Niagara Falls, New York, and the roadways. We should get some of the roadways in San Marcos. They'd be even crazier. So we're going to, for A, we're going to name all of the pairs of parallel lines. So looking at this, what denotes a parallel line? Do you guys remember the symbol?
What denotes?
What displays or shows you that the lines are parallel? The little triangles, right? So which of these lines have the little triangles on them?
Line D and line E.
You have this one right here and this one right here. So it would be D, M, and E, F. So you would say for A, and they actually have it, MD line, but you can write DM, it doesn't matter, is parallel to FE. Two lines between the two means parallel. Good. Does that make sense? All right, so let's look at B. Name a pair of perpendicular lines. What shows us that a line is perpendicular?
Right angle.
Yep, usually it'll have the right angle, but it can also be when you have two lines that are parallel, the transversal can be perpendicular. But it usually has to have that symbol. Are there any right angle symbols on this?
No.
Yep, there's one. It's hard to see. I'll draw it up here.
Right.
See the tiny little yellow line right there? So, which two lines would be considered perpendicular?
B and D for A.
I'll draw it. It'd be this line compared to this line, right? Well, I drew that one terribly. Nope. So that would be line BF perpendicular to MD or DM, whichever way you want to put it. It would not be wrong to say line BM is perpendicular to DM. It's just a better statement to say BF because it goes further. But if you had written line BM, I probably wouldn't count it wrong. All right. And C is asking you, is FE parallel to AC? So let's find FE right there. And AC is this guy. Are those parallel? No. If it asks you to explain, you could say they intersect, because they would eventually. And parallel lines cannot have intersecting lines. Any questions on that? Good. All right, last part. This is probably the concept you will use the most out of what you wrote today. So make sure you know where this is in your journals. You will see this a lot. So let's go over each of these. These are all angles formed by a transversal. Can anybody tell me what a transversal is? It is one of your vocab words.
A line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points.
Very good. So transversal is the line that crosses two other lines going the same direction. They may or may not be parallel lines. Most of the time they're not parallel lines, but the transversal crosses them. So whenever you're looking at three lines, you always look for the two going the same direction, and the one going completely different direction is called the transversal. All right? So now let's look at what happens with the different angles when you have a transversal. These are super important. You will see these on your test. So the first one is corresponding angles. They are considered corresponding angles if they have the same position. So if you see this angle, it's on the, I don't know how to explain this, both on the right-hand side of the transversal and both above their crossing lines. So those are considered corresponding angles. Okay? Later on you'll get to why it's important to know whether they're corresponding or these other measurements, because it helps you find the measures of each of these angles. These two lines are considered alternate interior, so they're both on the inside of their two lines and then on alternate sides of the transversal. Okay? Alternate exterior is the same thing. They're both on the outside of the crossing lines, but they're still on alternate sides. These would be, if you had it here and here, it would still be alternate exterior angles. And the last one, consecutive interior, they're both on the inside of the crossing lines, but they're on the same side of the transversal. Any questions about those four? It's highly important you know where this is so you can use it for all of your problems in your test. So let's identify some relationships. This is example 3. All right, so we're going to look at this picture to answer all these questions. Again, try not to look at your book. All right, for A, we're finding all of the angle pairs that are corresponding. Okay, first, look at this. Which line is the transversal? The one going horizontal, right? So this is your transversal. Just always take a minute to find the transversal. So corresponding angles means they're in the same position. If you look at these compared to these, they're in the same position. Okay, so if you're looking at it that way, Gabe, give me a corresponding angle. Just any set.
185.
Very good. Angle 1 and angle 5. What?
No.
Okay. For B, so give me another set. Oh, not for B. For the same thing, there's several sets. Give me another set of angles.
3 and 7.
3 and 7. Very good. Gwen, give me another set.
What? Sorry.
A set of corresponding angles.
4 and 8.
4 and 8. And the last set is angle 2 and angle 6. Okay, so these are all corresponding. Make sense? All right, now let's look at B. B asks you for alternate interior angles. So over here, alternate interior. Interior means they are where? On the inside of the two lines going the same direction. So that means we only have two sets, right? But alternate means they're what? Opposite sides of the transversal. So one set would be angle 2 and 7. What's the other set?
I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
No.
Okay.
Oh. Oh.
He probably just leaned on it just right. I like how Siri's like, okay. I'm loud. Okay, so what's the other set of alternate interior angles?
4 and 5.
4 and 5, very good. All right, angle C is alternate exterior. So where does that mean they are?
Yeah.
On the outside of the two lines. So they're only going to be able to be these 4. And they're alternate, which means they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So give me one set, Gwen.
1 and 8.
1 and 8. Iso?
What was the question?
Alternate exterior. She gave me 1 and 8. What are the other two angles?
6 and 3.
Yep. Very good. And the last one is consecutive interior. So interior means what? Inside of these two lines. Consecutive means what? What do you think? What's consecutive, remember? Same side as of the transversal.
Oh.
So then our options would be angle 4 and 7, and Gabe, what's the other one?
1 and 5. 2 and 5.
Angle 2 and 5. Very good. This is largely your assignment. Sometimes they will number the angles and you'll actually tell me the words. So let's do a couple of those. Everybody have this on there? Okay. I'm just going to draw it. This is guided practice number 3. If you want to draw it, you don't have to. All right. What would angle 1 and 5 be considered?
It would be considered
Corresponding.
They are on the same side, same position. So these are corresponding angles. Make sense? I'm going to do another one. Okay, angles 2 and 7. Isau, what do you think these are going to be called? You can use your book to help you. Look at that chart that I gave you. First of all, which one of these is a transversal? This guy, right?
Yeah.
Because he's crossing. So they're on which sides of the transversal? Same side or opposite sides? So they're going to be called alternate. And then looking at the two lines going the same way, where are they compared? Is your name Isau? You sound more feminine, Isau. So alternate, then what? Are they on the outside or the inside of these two lines? So you'd say alternate exterior angles. Does that make sense? All right, one more. And Gwen, I'm going to have you do this one. So we have angle 4 and 5. What would these be considered?
Alternate interior.
Do you guys agree with her?
yes.
Alternate interior angles. She's correct, because they're on the inside of the two lines going across, but alternate sides of the transversal. Any questions on how to do that? You have to feel comfortable with those. That's what you're doing. So you need to do numbers 3 through 31 odd. And then IXL D1, which I know most of you have been cheating and doing it while I'm lecturing. So shame on you. It's an easy one, though, so you'll knock it out.